Hello, everyone. I'm Randy Arrington, and welcome to the 43rd episode of Page Valley Livin'. We're here today at the farm and home of Raegan Dean to talk about a few honors she brought back from a big day at the 2024 Virginia State Fair in Doswell a few weeks ago after showing some Page County livestock on the state's biggest stage. We'll learn more about what this local 4-H and FFA member has learned through participation in those programs and what it's like to compete at the state fair. But now, first, let's hear a word from our sponsor.
At Luray Caverns, you can hear music of symphonic quality from ancient stone formations on the great stalacpipe organ, the largest musical instrument in the world. Only at Luray Caverns. Visit them online at luraycaverns.com to plan your trip today.
Episode 43 of Page Valley Living is being recorded on Monday, October the 28th, and will air on Wednesday, October the 30th. And we'll be back in just a few moments to talk with local FFA and 4-H member Raegan Dean about her big day at the 2024 Virginia State Fair in just a moment. But first, let's take a look at this week's headlines. And now looking back at the week that was in the Page Valley. Last week, a poultry house owned by Leroy Cubbage at Silver Creek Farm on Doval Hollow Road caught fire about 5 miles southwest of Stanley. The poultry house was being prepared to receive 19,000 chickens on Tuesday, but while the early morning blaze didn't claim any birds, the 70 by 300 foot building was considered a total loss with damages estimated at $600,000. In November, the town of Luray will be holding public hearings for 5 different permits to operate lodging houses within corporate limits. 3 of those permits are on Mechanic Street, or 3 of those applications for permits are on Mechanic Street, while the other 2 are on North Hawksbill Street and the Luray Landing Development. 3 of the hearings will take place during the Luray Council's November 12th meeting, while 2 of those hearings will be held during the Luray Planning Commission's November 13th meeting. And finally, with 1 week to Election Day, don't forget that early in-person voting at the Page County Government Center on South Court Street does end this Saturday on November the 2nd. The polls will be open on Election Day, Tuesday, November 5th, from 6 a.m. to 7 p.m. In the world of sports, on Monday night, the 5th-seeded Luray volleyball team swept number 4 Rappahannock in 3 sets on the road during the Bull Run District Tournament quarterfinals. The Bulldogs then fell to the Eagles of Clark County during Tuesday night's semifinal round. The Page County Panthers fell to top-seeded Clark in 3 sets during the quarterfinal round on Monday. While the Panthers conclude their season, the Bulldogs do advance to the Region B tournament next week as a likely number 6 seed in the region tournament, and they'll likely travel to Central for that region quarterfinal. Friday night was another tough one for both local football teams. Luray fell to Central 43-20 at Bulldog Field, while Page County lost to Madison 68-14 on Eddie Dean Field at Booster Park. This Friday night, Luray travels to Berryville to take on the undefeated Eagles of Clark County, while Page County hosts Central. Kickoff is at 7 p.m. at Buddy Comer Stadium. And now looking at the weekend ahead in the Page Valley. On Thursday, October 31st, for Halloween, the town of Luray is hosting its Trick or Treat on Main Street from 5 to 7 p.m. Main Street will be blocked off from about Broad Street up to the railroad tracks. On Friday, November 1st, from 6 to 8, it's live music with Heidi Riddell, including the Preacher Dave Barbecue Food Truck at Wisteria Farm and Vineyards on Marksville Road near Stanley. From 7 to 9 on Friday, it's Music Bingo at the Valley Cork in downtown Luray. On Saturday, November 2nd, from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m., it's a harvest market at the Luray United Methodist Church in downtown Luray. From 1 to 3 p.m., the Cooters Garage Band takes the stage at Cooters in the Valley on Route 11 west of Luray. From 5 to 7 p.m., it's Wisteria Farm and Vineyards Music Under the Arbor featuring Misha Heron. And finally, on Sunday, November the 3rd, bluegrass music out at Cooters in the Valley from 2 to 4 p.m. And that's a look back at headlines for this past week in the Page Valley. Hello, everyone, and we're back at the home and farm of Raegan Dean. Raegan, thanks so much for talking with us today.
Of course.
Now, I want to start off about talking about your farm out here in Leakesville, right on Leakesville Road, CBRH Farm. Now, what does that mean?
So the CBR and H stands for the names, the first letter of our names of us 4 children. So Cole, Blake, Raegan, and Heavenly. Heavenly was added a little later and has a bit of a smaller letter because she's about 10 years younger than me, the youngest. But that's the meaning.
And what was your older brother's name? I know because he's involved in 4-H and FFA. Both of them are involved?
They were both involved. They're both, now one of them's 25 and the other's at Tech in college. Cole and Blake.
Very good. Now, let me start out by asking you, when did you first get involved in FFA and 4-H?
It was probably about 2013. I was probably 5 or 6 because my older brothers had been showing for a while. So when I first technically got involved in 4-H, I would have been 9 because that's the youngest you can start actually showing. But you can show in commercial shows and not sell your animals. So I've been doing that since I was young.
Now, I know you had a big award this year that we're going to talk about in just a second for showing a hog. Now, is that kind of like your, because I think it's what, hogs, sheep, cattle,
And goats. Yep.
So it's 4 types. So is that kind of like your specialty, or have you done the whole gamut?
I've showed everything at least once, but my favorite 2 are definitely hogs and cattle.
Okay, all right. Not the sheep or the goats.
No.
I bet the goats are number 4.
Yeah, they are, definitely.
Hardest to work with?
Yes.
Now, what drew you, I think the answer is obvious, but what drew you to 4-H and FFA? You said your brothers and them showing and them being involved.
Yep, definitely my brothers.
Yeah. Now, what types of activities have you participated in 4-H and FFA? Has it all been just showing animals, or been some other things that you've done?
So for 4-H, there's definitely been a lot of community service activities. Showing in 4-H has led me to showing at jackpot shows, which are over the summer, just about every weekend in June and about halfway through July. We travel all up and down the East Coast and show at different shows. So that 4-H has led me to that. And then in FFA, I do livestock judging, stockmen's, and I did a little bit of public speaking too.
Okay. Now, those jackpot shows, is that kind of like practice runs, sort of, or are they
Sort of like, yeah.
to get you ready for the county fair and the state fair?
Yeah. So we show on the ECLA, the East Coast Livestock Association.
Okay.
So it's all up and down the East Coast. There's different shows in Maryland, Delaware, North Carolina.
Wow.
On the weekends at different fairgrounds. Yep.
Wow. So you've done some traveling to do this. Wow. Okay. And you said you've been doing it since you were 6 years old.
Yes.
Wow. Wow. Now, back in early October, just a few weeks ago, excuse me, you made a trip to the capital city of Richmond to go to the 2024 Virginia State Fair. What did you do during your time at the fair?
We walked over. So the livestock barn and everything's on one side, and then we have all the rides and all the food and everything. So we definitely walked over there a few times, checked out the rides and the food. Went out to dinner with friends, family, showed the pigs.
Now, no matter who I'm interviewing or what the subject is, I somehow get food involved into the interview. What's your favorite fair food?
Chocolate-covered banana, frozen banana. That's it.
Chocolate-covered frozen banana.
Yes.
I have not tried that, but
so
that
good.
sounds pretty good. That sounds pretty good. Now, you said this wasn't your first trip to the state fair. I know you've been showing since you were 6, you said earlier, but how many times have you been to the state fair?
4 times.
4 times?
Yes.
Now, is this the first time you've ever won an award?
No, it's not. I've won a few things in the past, a couple of years, but this is definitely the biggest year.
It seems like it, because I am going to read off a few things here, and you're going to tell me what they mean. All right. Grand overall market hog. Now, that we were talking earlier, that's based a little bit on the animal itself, more so than your showmanship.
Yes.
But so what did you win by this, or how did you win this one? Grand overall market hog.
So you go in for your class, which is with like maybe 10 hogs. If you get pulled out of your class, you'll go in for division. So there's a light, middle, and a heavyweight division. So then with that, I won the heavyweight division. I go in for market barrow, and I win that, and then go in for grand overall market hog and won that.
Now, without getting into too much detail, because I know there's probably a lot that goes into it, But what are, let's say, 3 or 4 of the biggest things that the animal is judged on?
Soundness, so how they walk, if they walk good, like a lot of times their feet will plant outside themselves, so they need to walk straight. They like heavy bone structure, like thick legs, a clean neck. So instead of their neck and like from their chest just going in a slant, it would go up and out like a clean neck.
Okay. Now, one thing I'm wondering, and this might be maybe the most difficult question I'm going to ask you today. How do you teach a hog to walk straight?
So it's more not, I guess not walk straight, but how that's just something that's natural, something they're born with.
I see. Okay, I got you. All right, now going to the next one. Grand overall breeding gilt. Okay, so what's that for?
So a gilt would be a female hog that's never had babies before.
Okay.
So a breeding gilt, they're looking at their potential to be a breeding animal, to be a sow, to have babies. Okay. So like sound also, able to carry the belly that has all the babies in it. And,
okay.
Yeah.
How about reserve? We got a few more to go through here, folks. Reserve grand overall market gilt.
So market gilt, same thing. Gilt is the female hogs never had babies, but instead we're looking at market, so going to slaughter. So.
And who's our guest appearance by?
This out here is Marty. This is my steer for this year.
Marty the steer is chiming in, saying it's dinner time. All right, this is the big one here now. This is the big one here. I want to hear about this because the 3 that we have talked about so far, again, judging the animal, on the merits of the animal. This was all you here. Champion, Master Hog, Showman. What does that mean and how did you achieve it?
So, first I have to go in for my age group or my class. So my showmanship class, I get out of that, I go in with all the senior showmen that have won their class. I get champion senior hog showman, and there's 4 age groups: the seniors, the intermediates, the juniors, and the novice. So there's a winner for each. We all 4 go in together, and the winner of that is the master hog showman.
Best of the best, as they say.
Yes.
Wow. I am privileged to be here today. Now, you told me earlier I had prepared a question that said, "Do you plan to go back next year?" But you said this year might be your last year.
Yeah, that's
gotten
my
some
plan.
high school activities going on because I want to tell you what, this girl is multi-talented. Not only is she a state fair champion, but she is a first team all-district cheerleader at Luray High School. Congratulations on that. That was just announced in the last week or so as well. Now, I'm going to ask you something for the folks out there. You know, a lot of people don't realize that farmers are also animal lovers, but they also realize that they're in the business of farming.
Yes.
So do sometimes on auction day, does it sometimes get a little tough after you spend so many hours and days and weeks and maybe years raising these animals?
Definitely. I'd say it definitely gets easier as you get older and you have more experience. And I would also, personally, it's harder for me with the steers than it is with the hogs. I feel like I get more attached with the steers than I do with the hogs. Since I do it so much, it's just kind of routine at this point. Yeah,
well, I'll tell you, I am one of those pampered people, and I'll make the comparison to hunting. I don't necessarily like shooting the deer, but boy, do I love venison.
Yeah.
You know? So I think a lot of people like bacon out there as well. Now, what is the greatest thing you have learned during your time in 4-H and FFA that you think may help you later in life?
I would say holding yourself accountable. Like in sports, you're going to have a coach that's going to tell you, you know, you need to run the laps, you need to do the workouts. Here you don't. This is you. This is all what I want to get out of it. So my hard work that I put in is what I'm going to get out of it. I have to make myself get up in the mornings and come up here and feed and check on everything and make myself come out here at 8 o'clock at night after I get home from practice. I don't have somebody telling me to do that. So holding yourself accountable. And
do you think that later on, are you looking to study agriculture in college or go into business? You're not? Okay.
I love kids, so my plan is to be a nurse, either pediatrics or mother-baby nurse.
Oh, wow. Big demand. Always
Yes.
vacancies for nurses, and you will never have trouble finding a job. I have a cousin now, and I know there's another term for this, but I call her the traveling nurse because
Yeah.
she goes for a few weeks or months and goes and where there's deficiencies
Yep.
and stuff. And I really salute her and for all of our nurses in what they do. One last question before we take a quick break here. What do you personally get out of the 4-H and FFA and raising these animals? You talked about the life skills and things like that, but is there something personally you gain or enjoy from it?
Definitely the memories and the new friends made along the way.
Right.
I'd say
Yeah.
a lot of my friends I've made through 4-H and FFA. So
Absolutely.
Yes.
Well, we're going to pause for another break here that we're getting ready to take. And we're going to ask you, would you stick around and play a game called the 5 W's with us?
Yes.
That is fantastic. Fantastic. We're going to do that in just a moment, folks. But first, another word from our sponsor.
At Luray Caverns, the Smithsonian Institution said, quote, "It is safe to say there is probably no other cave in the world more completely and profusely decorated than that of Luray. Come see Mother Nature showing off, only at Luray Caverns. Visit them online at luraycaverns.com to plan your trip today."
Welcome back, everybody. And now we're going to finish up by playing a quick Q&A game called the 5 W's. Now I'm going to ask you 5 simple questions about the who, what, when, where, and why. Are you ready?
Yes.
Oh, you are ready. I can tell. Who has been the greatest inspiration for you in 4-H and FFA?
My older brother Blake definitely has been a tremendous amount of help, and watching him be successful has made me just eager to follow along in his footsteps.
Does he have one of these state fair banners?
Yeah, he does.
He does? Okay, all right. I was thinking maybe you could kind of wave at him and like, I got this. But, well, I'm going to elaborate on that a little bit. How is it that, what about him and the way he's done things that inspired you? Just, was it his success or?
His work ethic, definitely. I would give him all the credit in the world. He's much harder worker than I am. I mean, when he was home and out of college, he is always up here. He was always willing to help. So.
Okay. And you say he's 25 now?
No, so my younger brother, he's 18.
He's 18.
Yes.
Okay. All right. And doing what now?
He's at Tech. He's studying agribusiness.
Agribusiness at Virginia Tech.
Yes.
Go Hokies. All right. Now let's get to the second question here. What is the key to having a prize-winning entry?
I would definitely say hard work again. So you can spend all the money in the world and buy this really nice animal, but if you're not putting in the work and you're not feeding it good and doing what you need to do at home, it's not going to get you anywhere.
That's true in a lot of things.
Yes.
That's true in a lot of things. When did you get your first ribbon for showing?
Probably when I was young, like 6 or 7, when I was showing at the county fair.
At the Page Valley Agricultural and Industrial Fair.
Yes.
All right. Fantastic. Where was your favorite spot at the state fair?
Definitely in the show ring.
In the show ring?
Yes. I love it. You don't think about anything when you're in there. It's just what you're doing at that moment. So.
And you're not even thinking about chocolate-covered bananas or anything? Okay. All right. Well, we're going to end up here with our why. We always end with a why. And why is 4-H and FFA so important, and why should others consider joining?
So the memories of the friends, the mentors that I've met and made along the way, I would say would be second to none in any other industry or club or anything you could do. Sports. I've been in cheer for a couple years, and I love it, but nothing could compare to what I do here with the animals and meeting the people that I meet and the memories that I make. It's great, and so many life lessons are taught, for sure.
That is a fantastic endorsement for FFA and 4-H. And you may not know phone numbers or email addresses or whatever, but who are some of the leaders, the club team leaders that they could contact if someone your age or younger would like to get involved?
So we have two 4-H clubs. Our leaders for both are Stephanie Breeden and Josh Parlett, and then our extension agent. So the person that heads over all the 4-H stuff would be Megan Dyer. And then for FFA, I know at Page County High School, they have a program. Chris Reisinger is their advisor, and then we have Katie Ryans and Kristen Cornell at Luray High School. And I think the middle schools are starting to have FFA programs as well.
That is fantastic. I mean, no
Yes.
more appropriate place to have them than
Yes.
Page County, right? All right. Well, we want to say thank you so much to Raegan Dean, and congratulations on not only your state fair awards, but your cheerleading honors as well. I'm telling you, to get first team in a sport is something. I'm going to brag a little bit. I was the only one in my senior class to get first team in a sport, so I give it up. All right. Once again, thanks to Raegan Dean for her time here today. We also want to say thank you to Eleanor Arrington for all of her work behind the camera today and in the editing room this week. If you enjoyed today's video, make sure you hit that like button, share it with a friend, and subscribe to our YouTube channel at Page Valley News. Just go on YouTube and type in the search Page Valley News, and you'll see all of our videos come up, from PVN sports videos from a few old basketball games to all 43 episodes of Page Valley Living and our PVN debates that may help you make up your mind before Election Day coming up. And finally, make sure to visit all of our furry friends down at the Page County Animal Shelter and help them find a forever home. Until next week, I'm Randy Arrington saying, enjoy that Page Valley living.